All right, welcome everybody. I'm excited about this Leader Club call, and I think this topic is perfect. It's something I get asked a lot about, and I don't know that I'm a pro at it. I just think that it's something that I've, spent time and I've been passionate about, and would love to share some things I've learned. But I would love also an open dialogue. So pipe in and unmute yourself if you have questions as I'm going, or if you feel like there's some additional information you'd like to add to what I'm saying. I don't want to make it sound like I'm the expert at this, but I'm happy to share what I do know, and please let me know. Oh, okay, someone has to unmute themselves if there's something in the chat that I missed. Amber is watching Rising Water. Oh, goodness, Amber. Okay. All right, so let's get started then. Guys, this is really fun. This is like one of my favorite topics, mainly because it's the bread and butter of our business. It's what we do. We want to get people not just hooked for the night of our class or for the one-on-one and have sort of a one-night stand with them. We want to be able to have a long-lasting relationship. And so what is it, a wellness consult? It is something that gets people in, and it gets them in deep. And it's an opportunity for us to open up a journey for them, a different lifestyle, a bit of a shift in their norm. And so our goal is really to connect. This is probably the thing that stands out to me the most when I get on the phone with someone, or we meet up in person at a coffee shop for a wellness consult. It's so, so important to connect with this person. We're in the business of relationships. What we do greatly impacts someone else's influence and understanding of doTERRA. And so as we sit down with this person, or as we're on the phone with this person, or FaceTiming, or however we connect with them, it is so much about the relationship that we have with that person and about how we can connect on a deeper level. And so for me personally, when I am teaching a class, when I am at the end and I've talked about the value of having a membership, and I've rolled out a plan for them to enroll with a certain kit, I bring out a calendar and I say to them, okay, you schedule an appointment on this calendar, and then I hold up our awesome Oil RN welcome pack. That's what I like to call it. There's so many goodies in here, and I show them every single thing in here and how great it is and how powerful these books can be, and this one, how so unique it is to our community. And I show them that if they schedule a wellness consult with me at the class, then when we have that wellness consult, I will then send them a welcome pack. I think it's really, really important that they don't just get random free things in the mail, but that they know that it's coming because they've put forth effort, and we're acknowledging the effort that they've put in, whether it's a purchase or the wellness consult or whatever it is, whatever incentive you're sending them, it's for a purpose. And we want to make sure that they're aware of that. So as that wellness consult is underway, as we're on the phone or in person or FaceTiming, whatever it is, I want to make sure to dig really deep and asking questions. So before I even sit down on the phone with them, I make sure to keep all my information right there handy. The questions that I've already thought of before our call, what I talked to them about at the class and how I got to know them, I want to follow up so that they know I'm committed to the relationship too. So if I learned at the class that they have kids, you bet I'm going to be asking about those kids. If I learned at the class that they have certain pains in their body, I'm going to ask how that's going, and I'm going to see, where they are and all of that. And so those are some precursors, but then other questions that I ask that are really, really important in a wellness consult is just, who are they? I want to know more about you. Sometimes I get really deep. I want to hear even about, why they live in a certain place or why they enjoy their job. Just getting to know them on a deeper level and connecting as humans, because we're all here in this human experience, and I would hate to pass up this opportunity to get to know someone just because I want them to get on LRP and I want their volume and I want. It's like, push the brakes, slow down a minute. We have a much greater purpose that we're serving here, and it's so important for us to take that opportunity to cultivate those relationships, because I really believe that if we have these relationships from the get-go, then when they have those questions that come up, right? When they have questions that are really serious, they're not going to be afraid to ask us. Or if they're really lighthearted questions, like, how many drops do I put in this roller bottle? they're going to be more apt to ask us than look on Google. And I don't necessarily want every question to be filtered through me, but I do want them to feel comfortable enough to ask me. And so by cultivating those relationships in the very beginning and digging deep and really pouring love and connection into this talk, into this wellness consult, it's going to provide a really nice foundation for the future of our experience together. So asking lots of questions and then doing your very best to listen. So not interrupting them at all on the call, even when something sounds super interesting, like you're connecting with them and you're like, oh yeah, I used to do that too, and then talking about yourself for a few minutes. Avoid doing that, especially if you're a person that interrupts a lot. And I'm not, pointing fingers if that's you, because that's me too. I feel like my husband and I are both interrupters. We both talk a lot. We're both loud and obnoxious. But in this setting of my business, I try really hard to be intentional about listening to them. I want them to tell me everything. And if there's an awkward pause or they feel like they've spoken too long, I dig a little deeper and I ask more questions. The purpose of me asking these questions and listening is so that they can feel heard. Once again, creating that connection. And all the while, the questions I'm asking are, of course, digging deeper into their health and wellness. What specifically they're having issues with. What is it that they truly need? What do they want to change? Why do they not like the way they're feeling about a certain situation, scenario, or symptom in their body? And so as I'm listening, you bet I'm taking notes. I'm jotting down all the nuggets and goodness that I want to know about them so that I can tailor the blessings that I'm going to offer them. And that's number 3. So in this goal of connecting with the people we teach, we want to make sure we ask, we listen, and then we bless. And so here's some ways that we bless our newbies. And that's what the rest of this little presentation is going to be about, is furthering education on the products. That's number 1. Specifically tailoring the wellness consult to the things they've already purchased first, right? Making sure that there's value in what they've already purchased, which is another reason that I hook them in for the wellness consult, is I will say something like, this wellness consult is going to be about 30 minutes of information on helping you to further understand things you've already bought. So they're feeling like, okay, I know that this call isn't going to be a push, 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 buy more, buy more, buy more, that she really wants to educate me. And so that's the goal and focus, is when I'm on the phone with them, I say, hey, this is your chance to pull out that purple box and dust off whatever you have in there, and let's get started. Let's open these bottles up. Let's get the stickers on them. Re-educate them on the things first that they've already bought, whether it's the Cleanse and Restore Kit, the Family Wellness Kit, Family Essentials, whatever it is, you pour value into that first and get them excited about the things they already own. That's number 1. Number 2, in furthering their education, well, I guess I'll talk about that on the next slide. Okay, sorry, I'm rambling. Number 2 on this slide is we want to make sure that we maximize their membership and show them how to do that, and also staying connected within our community. We obviously know the value of the Daily Essential Co. that Jenna has created, this beautiful community of women that trust and love one another. It's so powerful. So the third piece of the blessings that we're going to offer our newbies is to guide them to begin to develop a wellness lifestyle. So this is not just, hey, we're so excited that you joined our community and you have these top 10 oils, but a way to further incorporate some of those other products that we have too. So let's move on to first providing further education. As I mentioned before, we want to tailor our response to their specific needs. So if you're listening to them and you're writing things down and you hear something about, uterine health, then you're going to talk more about Claricalm and some of the female supplements. If it's more about moms and she's just struggling on how to keep her kids healthy, talk more obviously about the On Guard products. So as you go and as you listen on this call, you're going to have more exposure and more experience with this person's life. And because you're such an expert in doTERRA, you're going to know. I know you're just like me. You hear people in a crowded room, and as soon as you hear a sneeze in the room, you're like, oh, like you know who's sick. Or if someone's complaining about a pain in their body, you're already thinking of oils and ways to bless them. I know that's you because that's me too. So as you're listening to this person on the wellness consult, it's no different. You're taking these notes down and just being able to remember the things that obviously they spoke about, so then you can tailor the products you're going to talk about to their specific needs. So that's super, super important. The second piece of that, the 3 blessings I wanted to share, is maximizing their membership, as we spoke about for a moment ago, but just pouring a lot of value in the LRP. I spend a good half of the call just on explaining LRP, PV, rewards points, percentage earnings, and all of that. Because once you pour this value, you just constantly, you're layering pieces, brick upon brick, of how amazing the LRP is. They would never want to place a one-time standard order, right? I was in Texas this weekend, and I was with one of my leaders there, and she's such a doll. And I've never met her in person before, but I was listening to her after the class talk to some of her friends about LRP, and hearing it from her perspective gave me a whole different look into how other people see the value. And I was like, heck yeah, like she just said there's no way I would place a one-time standard order, because she selfishly said, I want those points. She's like, I'm at the 30% now. Why would I deny myself that chance? So just once again, pouring lots of goodness and value into the LRP. So all of those things are super important. And then touching too on wholesale prices versus retail on your wellness consult call is super important too. Just because now with the updated website, I absolutely love that they have the retail price crossed out. Have you noticed that? It's the best. The retail price is crossed out, and then underneath it, they show the wholesale price. I'm like, mind blown. I love that feature, because it just once again shows this person that's on the website like, hey, I am saving money by having this wholesale membership. And it shows that they're important in what they've done in this big decision and becoming a member of our community. So rewards points, again, just really, really stress the importance of LRP and being able to receive 10, 15, or 20, up to 30% back, and what that could turn into for you. I love how Cami always posts when she gets like a whole slew of free stuff on Instagram. She's like, look, I spent this much, but look at all this free stuff I got. I think that's important too, to show that. And then product of the month, obviously. Such a neat, amazing gift from doTERRA. And the last piece of blessing our people and our brand new folks is developing a wellness lifestyle. And this one is where I feel like all that conversation we had before leads up to this. You've heard all about their lifestyle. You've heard about what kind of environment they live in, what kind of home, what kind of community, what sort of work environment, all of that. It plays a huge factor into this pyramid here, and I'm obsessed with this pyramid. It's a little bit of a variation from the one doTERRA has, but it's pretty similar. Making sure, obviously, you talk about how important it is to have a good foundation of eating right and treating our body well and drinking lots of water and things like that. Taking care of ourselves. I'm obsessed with Stacy's self-care ebook. If you haven't seen that, go and get yourself that, read it, and share it with your people. Reach out and say, these things are important to take care of ourselves, right? Getting outside once a day, putting our feet on the ground, taking our shoes off, getting outside and just maybe taking a quick walk or walk around the park, or going to the grocery store with your kids. Even though it's stressful, you're outside, you're walking, it's some form of exercise. And then on top of that, you have been with your kids, and so that can be stressful. So trying to manage our stress and get rest. Sleep is so important. So each and every step, as you're talking about this during the wellness consult with your people, you're stressing the importance of using oils in all of these steps, right? So in eating a well-balanced diet, you could talk about how you incorporate using essential oils in your recipes. For getting outside and exercise, you can talk about Deep Blue or the Lifelong Vitality Pack and how that helps you with your energy levels and exercise. For rest management, you could talk more about Serenity, the Serenity soft gels, what oils you use in the tub to help you relax. To reduce our toxic load, I mean, that's a big one for me. This one, I mean, when our twins were born, we had to make a huge shift when it came to the ingredients we have in all of our cleaning products and plugins and candles and all that goodness. And just being able to reduce that even slightly makes such a huge impact in the environment of your home. And so by talking about that, or possibly even just the natural On Guard antibacterial soaps and what that means versus the Texitrin that's in the other antibacterial soaps that you can no longer get on the market because they were outlawed by the FDA. So you can talk about little things like that. You can use the ewg.org website. I love to bring this one up. I feel like everybody can connect because there's so many different products on there that they call out and that people use on a daily basis. So reducing our toxic load, bringing up things like zendocrine or lemon in our diet. Really important and super, super simple. 1 drop in an 8-ounce glass of water every day. And then self-care, that's right there at the top, with remembering to take a time out and take a deep breath. Remembering to have some form of meditation or prayer or a moment by yourself where you can reconnect with your own spirit or your own aura, whatever you want to call it. And then the last piece of the puzzle is proactive healthcare. So some form of preventative care, whether that's through On Guard essential oil or whatever oils they need to help tailor toward whatever thing they've talked about on the call. So all of these are really, really important in developing a wellness lifestyle. And the last thing I wanted to leave you with before I open this up to questions, because I think it's important, is I finished the Universe Has Your Back this weekend in Dallas, and this quote stood out to me, and I feel like I'm not going to cry, but it's like I can feel the feelings coming to the surface, because looking at this, sometimes we live in a scarcity mindset, we don't even know it, because we project certain things onto ourselves, or we tell ourselves these stories, but the real abundance exists inside of us, right? We have to work on ourselves in order to feel like we're going to get the success that we desire in life. And the more we allow love into our heart, the more fear and the more, negative story will dissipate. So that's my message today. I hope you got something out of it, but please get yourself off mute, because I would love to hear from all of you. Let's see what the chat says. Hello? Who's there?
Okay.
Oh, baby. Okay, I'm scrolling through. Can everyone still hear me? There's Cami. For a while in my biz, I was super great about doing a wellness call with every enrollment. I've slacked on that, and also it's been really, really hard to get people on the phone. I do notice that almost 100% of those I chat with over the phone end up having great retention rate for me and my biz, so they are so worth it. Do you have any tips, Lena, for how to get people on a call, and what if they can't or don't? What do you do then? That's a really good question. Okay, so I think Jenna was really persistent in the beginning with me, but I did not understand what a wellness consult was. And when I first enrolled, she emailed me probably 4 or 5 times, and I was just busy in the summer, and I just thought, oh, like, I'll get back to her when I can. I didn't really realize what a wellness consult was. Like, why did I need this thing? And then at a certain point when I felt like, oh, I should probably learn more about how to use these, she said, well, I'm going to pass you on to Amber, because she is an RN and she's like excited to help you. And so I was really enthralled to get on this phone call with her, because I think it was probably 90 minutes. And I was able to ask every question I could possibly think of. And she just guided me and gave me all the tools I needed right there in the beginning. And when I got off the call, I was like, wow, this gal, I feel like she loves me. She doesn't even know me. And she spent all this time like wanting to help me. I didn't get that that was an important thing. So think about it from an outsider's point of view, Cami, and what that can mean for you. So if you had no clue what a wellness consult was, how could you give it value before it's even received? So something like incentivizing, which I already talked about, but saying specifically, like explicitly, this is what it is. I'm going to give you 30 minutes, so kind of, even if you know it'll be an hour, tell them 30 minutes. Say, I'm going to give you 30 minutes where we can chat about the things you've already bought, so that you feel empowered and you're able to use them in your own home without feeling afraid, right? Because people are always afraid of what oil to use for what in the beginning, or what to use on their kids and stuff like that. Does that help, Cami? I can't see anybody. Oh, I guess I can stop sharing. Hold on. Hey, there we go. There's so many people. Okay. Am I echoing? Same here, says Brittany. How long do you keep trying to help and educate without turning them off or getting the feeling they aren't interested in hearing more? Okay, that's a good question. I think back to what Jenna did with me. You just allow someone the opportunity to pick that up. Like I always say, walk through open doors, right? So if the door is staying closed, then you don't need to push. You're busy. You have other things in your business you need to work on. But then just make sure you keep them in your, if you've got on your Excel spreadsheet or something like a follow-up LRP section of your spreadsheet, you just make sure that their name is still there and it stays there in the system. And so every couple of weeks or every couple of months, sort of as you know with this relationship and how it's progressed, then you can put energy into that, Was that your question, Lori? I have really bad eyes, guys. No one's talking. Someone unmute themselves. Am I alone?
I'm trying to talk. Can you hear me?
I can't hear anyone.
Can anyone hear me?
Okay.
No.
You're not annoying. Wait, what?
Okay, wait. Can you hear me?
Do you want me to do a dance? That's what I used to do in high school when I was teaching my high school kids. I'll do a dance to make you talk. I'm not afraid. Are you afraid? Or does no one have questions?
Jenna's trying to talk, Lena. Can you hear her?
No, I can't hear Jenna.
She's super quiet.
Where? Let me see. Oh,
She keeps going, Lena, can you hear me?
I don't know, you guys. There's something wrong with my speaker. I'm trying to figure it out.
Can anyone else hear her?
I'm just going to raise my hand 100 times.
I'm so confused. I can't hear.
Lena, you're echoing. Can you hear that? Am I echoing? Talk?
No, you're not echoing.
And I can hear Jenna. It just sounds like she's like muffled in a hole somewhere. I don't know what's going on.
Let me see if there's other questions. You do think people are under the impression that we're trying to sell them more oils. Most are pleasantly surprised. It's a one-on-one education and support. I agree, Stacy. I think that same thing applied like when I first got my kit too. And I feel like just being really upfront with people and allowing the conversation to be, I know we don't love the word organic, but just like making sure we really dig deep and ask lots of questions in the beginning and create a friendship with them will immediately like break down those walls.
Okay, I'm going to try again. Can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you.
Okay, I exited the building and then I came back. That was so awesome, Lena. And I wanted to add that something I like to do is like with everything, now I don't jump on wellness calls as much because I have leaders I can trust. And but before that happened, I really had to do everything the call myself. And like you're saying, I totally noticed so much of a better retention rate when I jumped on the phone. But also like with qualifying our classes, I like to qualify the wellness consult. So I like to say, what are your top 3 health concerns you're trying to address with your oils? Is it sleep? Is it, so that way like I can come up with information. And now especially I still do that. And that's how I decide where that enrollment's going to go. So if someone has a child with like a sensory processing disorder, I'm going to send them to Lena because I don't know anything about that. And that's what's awesome about our community is we have those gifts and we have those talents and other people share different unique gifts. And I think it's really cool to celebrate that in each other. And also so we can be prepared on the wellness call. So they're not just like, how do I address thyroid? And you don't know anything about thyroid and oils. And it's okay to say, And I think that's a lot of times too. People don't want to get on the phone. Us as wellness advocates don't want to get on the phone because we don't feel like we're experts, right? And so that is true. You know, we aren't always experts in everything about essential oils, but we can be. And I find that there's a lot of trust and love when you say to somebody, I don't know about that, but I'm going to research it and I'm going to get back to you. It shows that you're dedicated to learning about it and you're not just going to like speak off the cuff and give them information that's false or not true, that you're really eager to help them.
Thanks, Chica. There's a question over here. Okay, I'm trying to see who asked it. Lacey, you said, so for the most part, you do not set up LRPs. No, I absolutely do. Yes, that's like the second half of the call is we screen, like they can see my screen if we're FaceTiming, or I walk them through it over the phone, or if we're in person, I have my iPad or my laptop. And we set up an LRP, and that's like as I'm showing them the benefits and talking about PV and percentages, I'm actually physically showing them on the website, like within the cart, how you see the PV. And if you add the LLV, then you get these awesome supplements at a discounted price, you know, so they can see all of that. And then I show them, you know, on the calendar, the days in purple versus the days in green, which is the new updated LRP template. So I absolutely think that's a perfect time to set up the LRP. And then two, I love to incentivize on the months that doTERRA is not incentivizing for LRP. So this month I haven't had to do it at all for next month. So all the enrollments this month, they will LRP next month because next month has the most amazing promotion. Because, you know, we pour all this value into LLV and then they're like, oh my gosh, I can get that for free. And so if you, like on the months that doTERRA doesn't have that, if you feel like you have it in your budget to offer some kind of incentive, whether it's like a custom roller ball or, you know, pick from these three, you can pick like $10 or $20 oils and pick 3 or 4 of them and say this is an LRP incentive for your first month, and you can bring it to your wellness consult. You can say to them, hey, like I'm sending you this awesome welcome pack for meeting with me today, but I'm also going to offer these 3 if you know, purchase a 50 PV order, 100 PV order, whatever you feel like you want to offer for certain thresholds. But I find that to be really incentivizing in the beginning, just so that once again, they see value in ordering and that they know I'm acknowledging that purchase and that it means something to me. Okay, more questions. Carrie, I feel like I can't read yours, like I'm going to cry or something. Okay. I'm going to try this, telling them it's educate on what they've already purchased. Yes. It's never occurred to me that they might think I'm trying to sell them more. Oh, yeah. I think that happens a lot. Notes are huge. They help me sort out everything, keep it all straight. Absolutely. Stacy, what did you mean? I never thought of doing that.
Lena.
Yes. Is it Amber?
Yeah.
Hi, girl.
I'm finally out of the nursery cave.
Are you above water?
Yeah, currently.
Okay, good.
Have you ever run into anybody like getting weirded out whenever you go through the EWG with them and they're wondering why doTERRA's products aren't on there?
Never. I've never come across someone like annoyed by EWG, mainly because it's in DC and everyone thinks it's super cool that we have this awesome nonprofit right here in our town. Stacy, do you have that problem?
I think they're just kind of like, okay, you talk, like, just when I've gotten weird vibes from people, it's been like, oh, you told me this was such a great database, and then... Well,
doTERRA's on the Skin Deep website for EWG.
And then they just, they're just like, why can't I scan it? Oh,
yeah.
Crap, I'm going to echo.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
You can type in doTERRA on Skin Deep's EWG and it'll come up. Like Virage is like a 2 or something.
That's what I was going to say. I just Google it for them, and the primary one that I talk about is the Virage skincare one. I feel like that's kind of the most impressive one. And I want to say, like, on the app for your phone for EWG, it's not like the full database of what you get online too.
Right.
I just tell people, like, there's just tech issues with that, but it's nothing that we're trying to hide, obviously.
Right.
Just some barcodes don't work within the phone app. Sorry, that's kind of a lame answer.
No, that's not a
No,
lame answer. That's perfect.
I've told some people like, no, like we can look specifically at the ingredients in the, you know, in the body wash or whatever and lead them that way. But I didn't know if y'all had something that was just like streamlined that worked. Why do I smell like my house is full of eucalyptus all of a sudden?
Uh-oh. Jenna, your question, Lena, how do you suggest for those of us that haven't been perfect at wellness consults, how can we re-engage with old people? I feel like this has been an issue for some of the classes where, how shall I say it? I do a lot of enrolling under the people that host the class, and sometimes I don't know those people. Like, well, a lot of the times I don't know those people. And so they're like not afraid to get in touch with me, but they're kind of like, oh no, the weird oil lady. And so I will send, this may sound super weird, but I send video messages so that they remember who I am. I record them on Zoom and then I upload them to my computer and then put it in MailChimp. So it's like, hey, and I'll say their name. Hey, Vicki, remember me? Like, I get really kind of creepy because I just want to break down that barrier and for people to remember that I'm that fun girl that had a great time like 7-8 months ago, whenever that was, and they still haven't gotten in touch with me. So that's one way to re-engage, and I know that takes a lot of time for someone like you who enrolls the moon of people, like a whole world of people that you don't know. But you could do some kind of video and just make it generic and not have a name, you know, like, hey, I'm Jenna, whatever, and say awesome things about yourself, and they'll want to talk to you. I mean, for everyone else on this call, I feel like if I can, we can all in some way tailor a really personalized message to this individual. So whether it's a phone call or a text message, just making it so they feel like we remember them and that we value them and we're excited. But then there's still like a good handful of folks that refuse to talk to me. So it's not like, you know, I'm perfect at all of this. I'm just saying what has helped in the past and more recently.
Lena.
What's brilliant? Ben is mopping with eucalyptus? Okay, yes.
Are you always emailing those people like who won't communicate, or do you text or call or all three?
All three. And once again, like I keep pretty good record of who's gotten back or if they haven't. And once like my last point of contact, if it's been emailed, then the next time it's going to be text and a phone call. I think like getting your phone out, picking up the phone and talking to someone, it seems archaic, but it's a really valuable tool in this business, just like talking to someone. And actually, I've had a lot of phone conversations with people that still have not gotten on LRP. But I know that there's a lot of value in connecting with these people, you know? So I've gone to lunch like 3 times with this one gal, and I know eventually we'll get to that point, but I still want to make sure because some people just have a thicker exterior and they're not ready yet. And so I want to be there and I want to be patient for when they are ready. Now, if I was running like a giant team, I don't know if I could do that for everyone, but my team is still growing. And so I have the space in my business to make it that way. Do you know what I mean, Brooke? Okay.
And I wanted to share something that I did the other day that I got reminded of when you said that you made the personalized videos.
Yeah.
So I've done this twice for 2 people that are not local to me, and I just could not connect with them to do a wellness consult. So I literally videotaped myself and created like a little mini wellness consult for them. And it was like less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
They were both horrible, but I actually want to re-video it and like make it kind of nice so that I could just like resend it out to people.
Yeah.
And it was like me just like using the peppermint all 3 ways, like showing them how to self-diffuse, create roller balls. Like, I don't know. It was just like really helpful because these people, you know, again, just were not following up with me. And I'm like, well, I'm still sending you the information because they would want to text me like random things here and there. And I was like, I really just need some dedicated time to get this information to you. So anyway, they ended up watching the videos and that helped them a lot. So that can be kind of like a last ditch effort too for some people if you create a generic little short video.
I do think it's important too, and I always refer to this chick, but she's like my doTERRA spirit animal. Her name's Emily Pfeiffer, and you need to watch everything she's ever made because maybe it's just me, but I'm obsessed with her. She shared that those people who do not LRP, like they stay in the loop, and those folks need to be reeducated. She's like, no matter how you can reeducate them, do it in one form or another, even if it's sending them a live guide in the mail, right? This is awesome. Emily has loads of these too that she sends to her people. The live guide is so great, you guys. You can download it on Share Success too. So that's just offering more education. And then Emily also talks about how, Emily Pfeiffer. Oh, this live guide, I meant Emily Olson. Sorry, that's lots of Emily's. Emily Pfeiffer, who's not on our team, I don't know whose team she's on, but I'm officially her stalker. She talked about how they just need to come to another class. Like those folks who have come to my make and takes, when it's just make and takes, they get on LRP because they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could use all these oils in all these ways, right? Like they've forgotten what your class was like, or they forgot, what your one-on-one was like. And so getting them in front of the oils and in our community in some way participating gets them excited. Okay.
Lena, speaking of the live guide from Share Success, so Share Success, you can also go on the website, click on library, and you can download a wellness consult form. And I use that every time. It's also in the, it's at the back of, is it at the back of the live guide? Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
It's at the back of, and so no, there's like, there's
the wellness consult, sharesuccess.com/live.
Yeah. Which one has the wellness anyhow, you can download it from Share Success, and it goes through. It's a really good template. What I like about it is it has a place where you establish like a regimen for them, where you can talk about what they already have or things that they might need. And you talk about, okay, then why don't you start your morning by diffusing this? And so they have like a schedule so they know what to do when, and it helps them figure that out right then, rather than taking months to figure that out. They know how to use their stuff right away.
No, I agree. Thank you, Emily. Heidi, your question, how do you encourage people to do LRP that aren't interested in vitamins or skincare? I would suggest all the On Guard cleaning products is another option. If they're really convinced that the oils are all that they need, there is On Guard essential oil in so many products. And the toothpaste, like, that's an easy sell, I feel like. Does that help, Heidi?
Yes, I forgot about On Guard products.
Yeah, it's a big one.
I use them all. I just forget about talking about them.
Yeah, and then too, like when you send out your newsletters for the month, you could share like different ways that you use different oils that aren't in the top 10, and how they're versatile and can do different things. And so those oil users, because I have quite a few people like that too that aren't on LLV. Guys, I need a desktop. My eyes are not good. Teach you how to sell LLV. Well, I think you guys could watch this webinar I created for the Summer Success Summit, and you could fast forward if you don't want to watch the whole thing to the LLV part, because it's on there. That's all that I say. Just what I said there is exactly what I say in every class. Barrage, for sure, Jenna. Like, yes. I show before and afters a lot too with my skincare. My before and afters also have to do with LLV. Okay, what else is on here? I need a magnifying glass. Carrie, I love you. Where is Carrie on here? Oh, you can't see her. Does anyone else that's muted have questions? It's okay if you don't. Let's see. Kelly, you give me the... She's still a catfish as well. She totally is. Carrie. Oh, I love you. I'm excited to see everyone so soon. I'm flying into Utah on Friday. I can't wait. Hi, Cammie.
Lena, you missed my question, so I have to get brave and talk on here.
Yay!
I think I remember you telling me this, but I want you to say it again and clarify, but do you talk about the lifelong vitality every time you teach, like even in just like an introduction to essential oils class?
I do.
And if so, what do you say? I mean, is that what you said in the Share Success Summit?
Yes, so that's exactly what I say about lifelong vitality. I share lifelong vitality, Terrazyme, and probiotic because I have a personal testimony and experience of specifically those. But if after the class people have questions about like the cleanse or detoxing, I'll share some of the other stuff. Like deep blue polyphenol came up this weekend because somebody's constantly like pulling out their back or whatever. So like they'll come up after the class when I'm walking around and answering questions individually. But during the actual class itself, I absolutely talk about lifelong vitality, probiotic, and Terrazyme. And that's just me. Like not everybody has to do that. But for me, doTERRA is, and this is just me once again, but doTERRA is more, I guess, more commonly used in my home in supplement form. I mean, we use the oils every day, but the supplements are at the forefront of everything we do, like my kids' immune system, everything. So it just makes sense for me to do that. And then I know that those are things that do come up monthly that they would need. And so it plays a role in continuing their belief in doTERRA rather than just getting this one kit and not knowing how to continue that relationship. Like obviously it needs to be cultivated. But as all of you know, our time is limited and we're moms and we're divided in all these different places. And so sometimes that education isn't coming out as fast as I would like. But if I know that they have some kind of connection with lifelong vitality in the beginning, then it's less difficult for me to sort of, quote, convince them later when they're not in front of me. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to have to convince. I want to just be like standing there and be the witness of like how effective this thing has been for us and why it works so well. So, right. And then like when husbands come to the class, like this weekend, there were husbands there. It's like I can connect. The oils are over their head, but as soon as I talk about the supplements, the husbands are like, oh yeah, you know. Go ahead, Kelly.
Do you, I mean, I'll watch your video, so maybe this is a pointless question, but do you present it as kind of like sort of like more of a foundation to your health?
Yes.
Where the oils can be kind of like helping something in
as they come,
a cute way, you know, yeah. But the supplements kind of give you a really good basis. Is that kind of how you present it?
Yes.
I gotta mute myself.
You can ask Emily. She's been to a bunch of my classes.
Okay.
Yeah, guys, so when Lena does a one-on-one, I'd say it's half and half, the amount of time spent on, you know, going through the top 10 oils, maybe 60-40, 60 oils, 40 supplements. And I think it's really effective for her when she teaches classes because for someone that wants to make a change in their home, they see, I mean, even if they get a Home Essentials kit or even a Natural Solutions kit, I feel like, well, no, that has the LLV, but you know what I mean? Like, they're like, yeah, let's do this. Let's get oils. But then they're just kind of like sitting there diffusing citrus oils, waiting for a stomach bug to come. And then they're like, oh, cool. Now I can use my Digestin because I've got these oils. But what they really wanted was to make a change in how their family lives life, you know? So I think it's so effective when she spends so much time talking about the supplements, because people see that is like that can start making a change today, you know? She's awesome.
Thanks, Sam. I love you.
Love you, girl.
Does that help, Cammie? Oh, okay. She's on mute. Are we going over time? No, we're good. Anyone else?
I just want, can you hear me?
Hi.
Hi. I'm just making libido jokes in the chat. But can you hear me?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. I was just going to say, I love that Emily said that because, so I will admit, I feel really shy talking about the supplements. I feel like they're so intimidating to me for whatever reason. Like, I've been using them and taking them for so long, but I'm like, I don't know, just they work. And they're so hard for me to talk about. So I was actually so I've been trying to do these classes, like we're doing the back to school class within our Facebook group. And my next class, which I'm going to call Lena after this, but I want it to be about the supplements because I feel like educating our users on the supplements will change their life. And you're right, Emily, like I never thought about that. Like they're just waiting around for their stomach to hurt and then they're going to use their digestion. Now, we use our oils, even if you're not a huge supplement user, you're using your oils proactively, but they're totally using them reactively. And so that's why talking about actually changing their health, that requires using the supplements. So I love that just idea and hadn't really thought about it that before. But what would you suggest, Lena, like, because I think all of us are getting to this higher level leadership and we should be able to comfortably talk about the lifelong vitality. It's the #1 selling product in doTERRA.
Yeah.
So where do you suggest starting? Because even though I do use the supplements every day, like that's not good enough for people to say, just I use them, you know? So where do you suggest starting for all of us? Yeah, and not just the LV, but the omegas and the A to Z and the PD assist and all those things that really help support our family health. How do you suggest for those of us that don't feel as science-minded and you're so educated just in life as a teacher and Amber, obviously the nurse, and we all have different strengths, but I just want to admit to everyone here that it's something that I feel really insecure about because I think sometimes people, well, at least me, like I'm so intimidated to talk about them because I don't feel qualified. So, and I'm sure other people feel the same way, but I wanted to kind of like pose that question and say like, how can we start learning to talk about this more comfortably?
I think it was sometime like maybe 6 months into using them that I really started to question like, what the heck am I ingesting and why is it working so well? And so I went to the PIP guides. You know the PIP guide, the product information pages that if you go to the bottom on the screen of where you order it, it'll say PIP, P-I-P. There's also a binder you can buy. Mine's upstairs, but does anyone have that? Just raise your hand if you have the PIP guide. It's $15 from doTERRA.com. Yeah. So if you open that under wellness, okay, it has page upon page of information. And then on the LLV specifically, it has a Q&A. And I went through this and meticulously took notes and then looked up what every single word meant that I didn't understand. So even in the very beginning, I didn't know what like polyphenols meant. I just didn't know that a couple years ago because I was like new to all of this. It was before I got my holistic nutritionist certification. So I didn't know that. And so all the different words, there's, you know, a lot of different words within that PIP guide that you're not going to know. And so looking them up and just taking notes on what they mean and specifically how those nutrients affect our body. So now like when someone asks me, well, what is this acid? I can say, oh, this is what it does for your body. Okay, this is how it breaks down this protein or whatever. I'm not saying you have to know all of that, but just to know the gist of it all to get started, definitely turn to the PIP guide and try to look up as much as you can, like even if it's 30 minutes a day until you feel like you have a good grasp of being able to talk about it. And then use your husband or your spouse or your kids or your boyfriend, whatever, as a practice. Like I practiced with my husband talking about them before the first time I ran a booth at a gym a couple years ago, because I was really stressed about like talking about how these supplements can help with high interval training without knowing specifically what they would do for them. And so I was practicing on him, and he was just laughing at me, but whatever. Like, it gave me an opportunity to say what I wanted to say, and then realizing that I still didn't quite know, and then I could go back and relearn and practice. And that's what teaching's all about anyway, right? Like, we say that being a teacher is supposed to be for the people that we're teaching, but really the educator gets so much more out of it, like, because you have to do the research and you have to learn everything that you're able to talk about. Does that help, Jenna?
Yeah, totally. Thank you. I'm going to start there. And I think too, like, Sarah never talks about the supplements, and so that's how I learned. You know, I started going to her one-on-one classes, so we really do learn from our leaders, and that's what's hard, is if we want people to duplicate using the supplements, then we have to be talking about them in our classes.
It's definitely something to not be afraid of, especially if you're already taking them and you have a testimony or whatever, a witness of what they can do for you. That's so powerful, you guys. Like, on Voxer, I've talked to a few of you just about how important it can be and what an impact it can make on our class when the host shares her experience. Like, it can change and shift the whole vibe of the room when that person can give sort of a stamp of approval. Or if you have other leaders that you've invited to the class and they share their experience, you know, it's just someone else that they can connect with other than this lady at the front of the room that they don't know, you know?
Lena, and I think that's really important, because you come from the teacher perspective, the holistic nutritionist perspective. I am not a teacher or a holistic nutritionist, but I have a testimony myself that I can share. Like, I have Crohn's, and it's made 180 difference in my life with Crohn's. And so I can share that with people, and I feel like it's powerful in its own way, because it's real, and they see me healthy standing in front of them, and they see, like, that's amazing. And Cammie, you've been sharing on Instagram, like, your steps for the day. That's amazing. For a mom to see, like, here's a mom who has 4 kids, and she used to be more tired, and now she has more energy. I want more energy. That's powerful, you know?
Absolutely.
So, like, sharing where you are, I think, is valuable.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone needs an Emily in their life, because her stories are all powerful. Guys, she's pregnant with number 7. Yeah.
Very pregnant.
Girlfriend
at convention, you'll see me very pregnant.
He has 2 sets of twins. 2!
We do.
I know. Look at Stacy's jaws dropped.
I never know when to tell people that, because I think they just start, like, backing away slowly.
I love it.
Cool. We're cool. We're normal.
You guys, she makes it look easy. I'm not kidding. I'm like a freak show with my 4, and she's got it all together.
No. Emily's a hero. He brings up a great point. How do you talk about it on, like, financially? How do you talk about the LLV?
So this is something that comes up a lot, especially in this area. We have a really high cost of living here in the DC area. And so I try to stress the importance of starting first with half a dose. That's like my general rule of thumb, unless I know right out the gate that they have a big house and they have money and they can afford it. I just basically share with them, like, this is a great way for you and your husband to start this together. He can take half, you can take half. And then I say to them, just like I say with all the other products from doTERRA, is we now, instead of spending this money at Target, which I'm still at Target all the time, but what I'm saying is I don't spend, you know, the money that I would spend on laundry detergent or soaps or toothpaste there. That I've shifted and sort of rearranged where that money is going to go. and then once again pouring loads of value in the LRP and getting those percentages back so that after 6 months, 8 months, whatever it is, they're going to earn a free lifelong vitality pack. And they love that. So when you think about what it costs per day and how that would span, you know, over the course of however many months, and being able to get that for free, people get excited. So it's just a different angle of talking about it with half a dose. And then I also mentioned to them my story about how I took half a dose forever. It was probably, I don't know, 8 or 10 months before I took the full dose. And I was on a trip and I was feeling really drowsy, and I was like, I'm just going to give it a full dose try. And every time I tell this story, people are like, oh no, because I seriously was hooked. I was like, I can't go back now to half dose. But I said, just give it a try. When we talk on our wellness consult, you know, I want you to tell me how you're feeling, and we can adjust from there if you feel like it's too much or too little, and you know, just keeping that open line of communication and making sure they know that they have a friend in me and that I'm going to be honest with them. Amber was really good about that in the beginning too, making sure I get a good deal, that I get certain things on Amazon versus doTERRA. And I think the same thing can apply with the supplements. Like, let's adjust based on how you feel, you know? Did that answer your question? Switching spending, yes. Target is life. I know. Never, I know. Oh my gosh, Stacy. Forget what I ever said about moving far away from me. 2 super targets. Thank you so much for asking me to do this. This has been really fun. And message me if you ever have any questions about wellness consults or LRP, and we can keep the conversation going. I'm not an expert, but like I said, you can ask me whatever too. You guys are the best. I'll stop hitting record.